The Neo Geo Pocket Color didn't have the luxury of an extensive library, but the games it did have often possessed a surprising amount of polish and ambition. We've seen plenty throughout this series just how impressive a handheld console could become. Sure, it was technically a 16-bit one compared to its Game Boy Color contemporary's 8-bit, but I've been consistently blown away by the smoothness of gameplay and the vibrancy of graphics. Of course, it went the way of pretty much any Nintendo competitor due to the stranglehold they held on the third-party market, amongst other things, but its short and bright burn doesn't in any way diminish the value of some of these titles. A shame SNK had to make most of the games themselves. I'd have loved to see what companies like Konami or Square could have achieved. One of SNK's greatest in-house properties was lovingly represented on the system, not once, but twice. Metal Slug is one of the icons of the run-and-gunner genre, with varying fighting mechanics based on land, air and sea, stunning graphics, irresistible gameplay, and a healthy slathering of charm and charisma. The first and second mission games weren't just reboots of earlier mainline entries either, but their own specific things. This sequel, which sadly would become the final game released on North American soil, takes everything the first one did so well and just expands on it like crazy, creating one of the most accomplished video games on the whole system. The most immediate difference between the two games is scale. First mission offered a respectable 17 stages, but it could be finished fairly quickly, and the limited exploration potential did sort of hamper any incentive you might have had to revisit it a lot of times. Now, however, there are 38 missions in total, and while not every stage is that long, and you might be initially confused as to why you beat stage 1 and then start stage 3 or something, the sheer variety you'll come across is incredibly impressive for the time. The game is basically a non-linear experience for the most part. Multiple missions branch off depending on the choices you make or the paths you uncover, creating this real sense of exploration not often seen in run-and-gun titles. Tons of hidden areas and even missions encourage you to try everything, even stuff you would instinctively try to avoid. Getting shot down while in a plane, for example, might cause you to crash land in a jungle and have to fight your way through, in a mission you'd not get to see if you actually managed to survive the dogfights. Hostages play a bigger role this time around as well. They're not all hidden in plain sight. Some require you to puzzle out how to get to them if they're out of reach. Others might be hidden behind destructible walls. They might give you extra weapons, which can come in clutch. Some hints about secrets or how to kill a boss, or if the ones you rescue are of high rank, you might even find yourself up for a promotion. Whichever ones you save will stay saved as well, so on future replays of the stages you can grind to get them all. Replayability is the name of the game here, and that's a massive improvement over the first one. You'll start off with a choice between two characters, Gimlet and Red-Eye, and the routes they take through the 38 stages are unique to them until they get to something like stage 31. After the initial stage, the front, for example, Gimlet will plunge right into stage 2, Invasion, whereas Red-Eye will have to take a different route and tackle stage 3, Dire Straits. They then move on to stages 4 or 5, respectively. Not until level 6 do their paths converge again. And like I say, if on stage 7 you get shot down, you'll go to stage 9, which then unlocks a whole host of new levels. If you do manage to make it through stage 7, you'll fast forward right the way through to 16 or 17, depending on which character you are. If you do get shot down, once you pass through stage 9, you'll return to number 8. However, it's also possible to get to 8 via a secret exit on stage 2. A little confusing maybe, but just draw the maps and you'll be fine. Essentially, whether you want to approach the game with a gung-ho attitude or a more explorative one, you'll be rewarded in different ways, which is awesome. And thankfully, the hostages saved screen will help you to keep track of all of it and give you clues on where you need to scour next. Of course, once you beat the game for the first time, you'll then unlock the third character, Tequila, and now have full access to any of the missions you'd like. The controls were pretty spot on first time around, there weren't many complaints, but they're even more refined here, with even the most minor irritants tweaked and ironed out. Before, for example, you had to switch weapons to use grenades, but now they're much more streamlined. Rather than using the option button to switch to grenades, pressing option just throws one now. This feels way closer to the arcade and a lot less clunky in the heat of battle. Now, I really don't want to diminish the first game at all because it in itself is spectacular and should be experienced for sure. Playing the two games side by side though does highlight the amount of progress that was made in places you didn't even realize it could be. Where first mission felt a little like a straight run through a condensed Metal Slug experience, this second one feels more like a proper entry with its own identity. If you've only tried the first one, you may be surprised at just how much more this has to offer. Ultimately, and this is going to sound like hyperbole, but I swear it isn't, this game is basically the pinnacle of the whole NGPC library. There's maybe only one or two that can even compete with it. I will soon be doing the entire bottom to top rundown list. It's going to be a big video for sure, but I'm ready for it. And I wouldn't be surprised, in fact I'm pretty damn sure, that Metal Slug's second mission is going to be in the top 3 Neo Geo Pocket Color games ever. It's that damn good.